Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Maddie, and somehow we are almost at the end of the year. Today I am filming this on October 23rd, which means we have a little bit more than 2 months left of the year. And I have a lot of books that I thought I would get to this year that I haven't. So I went through that list and I picked out all of the books that I really want to finish before the end of the year. And I'm trying to be realistic here. I don't have 10 books, I don't have more. I am trying to hold myself accountable. So hopefully before the start of 2024, I will have finished all of these books. Do I think that will happen? I don't know. But I'm gonna try. Realistically, I'm probably only going to read between 12 and max 20 books before the year is over. So I wanted to be conservative and just focus on the books that I really want to prioritize. I have 7 books picked out, which if we do the math, that is very doable. Let's just get right into these books, starting with probably my most anticipated book of all year, which comes out tomorrow, and that is obviously A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. If you don't know what this is, it is the third and final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, and as you can probably see behind me, I am a big fan of Stephanie Garber, and I love this series, and I know that I am not alone. It feels like everyone is just collectively waiting for tomorrow to go pick up this book and start it immediately. Am I in the middle of a book? Yes. Do I care? No. I'm going to pick this up immediately after work tomorrow, and I'm going to start it right away. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I don't want anything to happen. I just want to read that book. I honestly wish I could just take off work and just read it all day. I obviously can't really tell you what this book is about because it would spoil what happens in the first 2 books. But just know that book 2 left all of us on such a big cliffhanger that I just cannot wait to read this book. It's honestly pointless for me to put this in this video because I don't need to be held accountable to read this. Like, it's happening tomorrow. Next book, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I know. It's a crime that I haven't read this book and I've had it for a few months now. I have this thing, okay, where I do not read books that I really think are gonna be great. I put them off. I was always that kid that saved the best for last, and I do the same with books, movies, things. Like, if I think it's gonna be really great and I'm really excited for it, I usually put it off, which is really stupid. I'm trying to break that habit this year, at least with books. So I would love to finish this before the year is up. This is probably the only book on this list that if I don't get to it by 2024, but I get to it by March, I won't be too mad at myself. While I really am excited for this, I'm also kind of scared. Just because I've heard so much hype for this, so if it isn't as good as I think it's going to be, then it will crush me. And I love Gossip Girl, I love Chuck and Blair, so I think that I will really enjoy it, even though it's very just toxic relationship. But you never know, I could be the group of people that hates this. I feel like literally everyone has heard of this book, but if you don't know what it is, I honestly don't know what it is either, other than it follows BJ and Magnolia, who are in a on and off again super toxic relationship, and they're really rich British socialites. I think that's all there is to know. I don't think these are very plot heavy books. They're very much just character driven, and they are just widely loved by people. This is Sarah Caroli's all-time favorite book. Rachel Catherine loves this series. I just feel like everyone that I like and trust loves this, so I hope I do too. We are taking a 180 with Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is the first in a sci-fi trilogy, but I think there's really 5 or 6 books. This came out I don't know, 10 years ago? Yeah, it came out in 2014, but this year I feel like it really got popular again because Haley Pham read it in a reading blog and then just it snowballed. I have not read any science fiction really, but people who are not science fiction people seem to really love this series. It's supposed to be amazing. People say it's like Hunger Games in space, but I think it's way more than that. I think it's going to be heartbreaking, really intense. I think that I will fall in love with these characters, and I just hope that I get really sucked into this world. This first book is pretty short, so I feel like I have no excuse not to read it. I am intimidated by the other books in the series because they get much larger, but I definitely want to at least read the first one. Another that I'm embarrassed I haven't read yet, and that is ACOTAR. I have owned this book for probably a year, and I've just been putting it off. Same thing as Magnolia Parks. I am just putting it off because I'm afraid that I will really love it. That is so stupid. I know that Sarah J. Maas is kind of a love-hate author for a lot of people, but I feel like 90% of people are in the love, borderline obsession. No, not even borderline. I feel like most people are completely obsessed with her books, and I hope that I am too. I feel like I'm a pretty simple girl. It doesn't take a lot for me to love a book, so I hope that I become an ACOTAR girly. You can see behind me, I have the entire series and even the first 2 Throne of Glass books, but I haven't read them yet. It's embarrassing, and I told myself I really wanted to read this during this fall. We are getting towards the end of October, so I've got about a month left to squeeze this in. So I think this is probably going to be a priority for me in November. I definitely don't think I'm going to read the whole series by the end of the year, especially since I have all these other books that I want to get to, but I better read at least the first one. In middle school, I was 100% a Hunger Games girl, and I can't tell you how excited I am for the Songbirds of... what's it called? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel movie that is coming out next month. And I obviously have got to read this before that movie comes out. While I've heard mixed reviews on the book itself, I think that the movie is going to be great. All of the movies were good. The trailer looks really good. I think they are going to knock it out of the park, and I have to read this before. I've been slowly doing a reread of the initial trilogy, and I still have the third one, which is Mockingjay, left. So technically that is 2 books that I have to read before November. I don't know when it comes out. Like middle of November, I think. I've been having so much fun rereading the trilogy, so I can't wait to get to Mockingjay, and I'm a little nervous about this one just because I know not everybody has liked it, but I love her writing, so I think that I will at least enjoy it, even if I don't love it. Last but not least, if I do not read this book by the end of the year, I feel like I will have just failed as a reader. Fourth thing. Unless this is like your very first video you've ever seen on Book Talk, BookTube, anywhere, then I'm sure you know about this, because this is the one book since I've been like on Book Talk, BookTube, that I have seen everyone collectively agree that it's like one of the best books they've ever read in their whole entire lives. When it came out for literally like 2 months, I could not scroll through TikTok without seeing a TikTok about this book. Obviously, there were a few people that didn't love this book, but even the ones I follow who didn't absolutely love it still admitted that it was a really good book and like they were glad that they read it and they thought it was fun. Will I believe that it has all of the insane hype that it has around it? I don't know. That's like part of the reason why I picked it up immediately, but I have not read it because I'm scared. When a book has so much hype like this, I'm just scared of being disappointed. But it's time that I just bite the bullet, read it, make my own opinion about it, and if I love it, the second book comes out in either December or January, I think. And assuming that I'm a fan like everybody else, I think it would be really fun to read the second book along with everybody else. Just like how tomorrow I'm gonna read A Curse for True Love with like literally everyone else on the internet, and that just feels super exciting, and I hope that I fall in love with this and kind of get to have the same experience with everybody else. I have done such a poor job of explaining what these books are, but this, if you somehow do not know, is about this girl who goes to a school. Very descriptive. It's a school where I think you get put into different groups, and one of those is being a dragon rider, and she grew up her whole life thinking that she was going to be a scribe, which is another group where they're scribes. I don't know. They write down things. I don't really know. And I guess last minute, like right before she's about to go to school, her mom is like, no, not happening. No daughter of mine is being a scribe. You are going to be a dragon rider. So it's not what she planned her whole life. It's super dangerous, and she goes and becomes a dragon rider, I guess. I think that there is an enemies to lovers in this. I'm not totally sure. I just know that everybody is obsessed with Xaden, the male main character, and it seems like a very fun, fast-paced read. So I am super excited. I am going to force myself to finally read this. If I somehow don't read this by the end of the year, I better have the best excuse in the whole entire world, because I have got to read it this year. It only came out a few months ago, I feel like, but I am so behind, and I just want to finally experience it. I feel like the hype has died down a lot, and I can now just read it at my own pace and hopefully make my own opinion about it. So that is everything. These are the 7 books that I better read before the end of the year, so help me. Like I said, this isn't a super huge list. I obviously have a ton more books that I would love to read by the end of this year. My TBR cart is sitting behind me, and I have a lot on the top there that I would love to get to, but these I really hope to prioritize in the next 2 months. That was quick, but it was fun, and I feel like just saying that I'm gonna read these books out loud has gotten me a lot more excited, and like it actually feels like I'm going to read them now. Like it feels almost like I've given myself permission to finally read them, and I'm excited. Like I actually want to go read these right now. If it wasn't for A Curse for True Love, I would maybe just quit the book that I'm in the middle of right now and start one of these. But I guess A Curse for True Love's on my list anyways, so technically I will be doing that tomorrow. Anyways, I hope this was fun. It was kind of a last minute idea when I realized that we are getting this close to the end of the year, and I've made promises to you guys and myself to read certain books before the end of the year, and I have not upheld those promises yet, but that's okay. I am putting out my good intentions into the universe now for these books. Let me know if you have a list like this of books that you just really want to read by the end of the year, or maybe it's just me. Or you can try and convince me to read the books that I have on my list. If you've read any of them and you really enjoyed them, please let me know. I think I need all the encouragement that I can get. Anyways, that is all from me. I hope that you enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.